Hour two. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. Talking it up with Anita, who's having trouble with a phlebitis issue in the leg. All right, Anita, so how long has the leg been an issue for you?
For 58 years. When I was pregnant with my daughter, my veins started breaking. And, of course, I knew nothing about nutrition, and I had one vein that was so engorged that it looked like a snake crawling all the way up my leg. So I had a vein ligation, but that wasn't taking care of the situation. And little by little, the veins have gotten all, my feet are like all blue, excuse me, all blue on the top, and on one top now it's starting to ache where the doctor said looks sort of like phlebitis to him.
Okay, so how long has it looked like phlebitis? How long has, it been in an acute situation?
I don't know exactly, but quite a long time, but it never hurt me before. It started hurting me about 6 months ago.
Yeah, okay. So that's why the blood sugars are elevated, because there is a relationship between high blood sugars and acute inflammation in the body. Even if someone doesn't have an issue with type 1 or type 2 diabetes, or even if they're not pre-type 2 diabetic or have syndrome X or any of that stuff, if there's chronic inflammation in the body, the blood sugars are going to be messed up. So that's what's causing the elevation in the A1C and the daily blood sugars when they're over 100.
Very interesting.
It is very interesting, isn't it? So
because I couldn't figure out what am I doing wrong.
Well, you're not doing anything wrong.
I feel better.
Yeah. So the question before the court, right, is well, what the heck are we going to do about the phlebitis?
Right.
And what's up with that anyway, right? So, that's an interesting thing to talk about. Okay. So, well, any type of an itis in the body, right, it means inflammation. And one of the things that we do with holistic medical nutrition is when inflammation is at play, of course, we stop eating food that's going to increase inflammation. You've already done that.
Right.
We give the 90 essential nutrients that the body needs in order just to manage its day-to-day affairs. You've done that.
Right.
So the only extra thing to do is give you a little extra vein support, and quite frankly, we want to really turn up the heat on your body's fire department. We want to increase your body's ability to put out the fires of inflammation. And this is a thing that not enough people talk about, not enough doctors talk about. Everybody talks about the immune system all the time. Oh, the immune system this and the immune system that. And, well, the immune system's a system. And it's like the police department of the body, right? That's what the immune system does. It finds bad guys and gets rid of them. Well, guess what? The body has a fire department also that it uses to put out the fires of inflammation. And the fire department of the body uses the captain of the fire department of the body, to use a patently male metaphor, is selenium. So whenever inflammation is a runaway train in the body, extra selenium is never a bad idea. So for, 2, 3, 4 weeks, until there's a noticeable, measurable improvement in the inflammatory process here, I would go to 12 selenium a day. I would do 4, 4, and 4 between meals. 4, 4, and 4 of the selenium between meals. You don't have to worry about overdosing on selenium. That's kind of an urban myth. You have to really take quite a bit of selenium for quite a long time in order to produce net negative effects on the body. And way before that happens, your body starts to generate symptoms of too much selenium. And too much selenium symptoms are your hair gets brittle, your fingernails get funky, they get soft.
My fingernails have been collapsing for years and years, and nobody's ever known what in the world it is. They just fall. They don't fall off, but they just chip all off.
Yeah, it's a biotin deficiency. That's a deficiency.
I tried extra biotin for 3 months and nothing happened.
With longevity or before longevity?
No, this was before.
Well, now, so this is, again, another interesting thing to talk about, Anina. And I'm so glad that you called because really, your experience with medical nutrition, I'm assuming that you're really on the ball here. But the problem is, with people like you who are on the ball and they're very proactive about, what am I going to do? I have to fix this. What am I going to do? And so you'll go to the internet, you'll go to the library, you'll try to figure it out yourself.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is that if your body needs biotin, for example, it needs biotin, but it also needs the 90 essential nutrients. And if you just take biotin without the 90 essential nutrients, your body is not going to be able to metabolize it or use it up efficiently. So you'll take a bunch of it in and you'll pee or poop a bunch of it out, and your body just won't be able to metabolize it. But if you take biotin, on top of the 90 essential nutrients, man, it works like magic. And that's the same for all other nutritional supplements like vitamin D, like David, like the MDs. You need more vitamin D. Well, guess what? If you take vitamin D with the 90 essential nutrients, it works 1,000 times better. So I'm going to recommend that you try the biotin thing again now that you're on the longevity train, and I bet you 25 cents you're going to have a completely different experience of it.
How much biotin should I take?
Nobody knows. That's a really good question, and I'd be lying to you if I pointed out a number. You just have to start somewhere and see how it goes. But for the phlebitis, there's one more thing to do.
Yes.
In order to support and promote the fire department of the human body. And that's the longevity product called Cell Shield RTQ.
Because I do take all of those. I don't take that product, but I had left from before I started longevity. I've always taken quercetin and resveratrol and oral lipoic acid.
Well, you need more now because you have an inflammatory thing that's a runaway train. And that's the virtue of that particular supplement trilogy. That particular supplement really supports and promotes your body's fire department super well. So
how many?
You got to be careful with this one. You got to be careful with this one because this product promotes low blood pressure. So this happened to me, I'll tell you a true story. I was lecturing for longevity, and I had to get up real early one morning to catch a plane. This was, 6 or 9 months ago, and I was in a hurry. I hadn't gotten enough sleep the night before. I slept through my alarm. I didn't have time to eat breakfast, but I'm not going to miss my supplements. So, I'm running out the door and I'm throwing these supplements into my mouth, and of course I have my big canister of coffee that I'm going to drink in the cab on the way to the airport. So I'm dehydrated. I'm drinking coffee, which dehydrates me more, and for some reason I took I'm not going to lie to you here. I took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I took 9 Cell Shield RTQ all at once, right? I don't know what I was thinking, but, I just grabbed a whole bunch of supplements, right? And so I get on the plane. I'm sitting in my seat, and all of these chickens came home to roost, and I passed out in the seat. I passed out.
Oh, my God.
My blood pressure was so low because, number one, I didn't have any food. Number two, I had dehydrated myself with the coffee. And number three, I took way too many Cell Shield RTQ. It lowered my blood pressure so low that I passed out.
Oh,
So, if anybody tells you medical nutrition that just gives you expensive urine, just laugh at them and walk away. So when you take high amounts of Cell Shield RTQ that I'm going to recommend that you take, I want you to take 9 or 12 a day.
9 or 12, and they're capsules?
Yeah, it's a capsule. Yeah.
9 or 12 a day.
Yeah, spread those out, right? So 3, 3, and 3, or 4, 4, and 4.
I'm going to have big drinks all day long.
Well, this is our life, and welcome to it, right? It's better than dying in your 70s, or dying. I mean, it's there's no other way, really.
So should I take my blood pressure more often than
Well, you just want to be careful. I would take your blood pressure more often, yeah. And if you see it starting to get low, or one of the hallmarks of too low blood pressure is when you change position, you feel a little lightheaded, right? So you stand up from sitting, I'm a little lightheaded. Or first thing in the morning, you sit up from sleeping in bed, I'm a little bit lightheaded. It's like that. When you change position, you get a little lightheaded if your blood pressure is too low.
So should I start out with 9 or 12, or should I start out slowly?
No, man, you've got phlebitis. You need to go for it. But as long as you're hydrated and you're eating, you should be good.
Okay.
I just want to give you a heads up here, really more of a, kind of an amusing anecdote. But in any event, that's what I want you to do.
I also had added 2 extra milligrams when I was on the, when I was on the selenium and I was taking 6 a day. I had added 2 milligrams of copper. Should I just not do that because I'm going to go up to 12 a day?
No, you want to add more copper when you add more selenium for sure. Now, the selenium that Youngevity has
copper.
Yeah, and it has a nice ratio of copper to it.
Yeah, that's why I was afraid to take the extra 2 milligrams.
No, you don't need to be afraid of that. What I would do instead, instead of elemental copper, I would get colloidal copper.
I think that's what I have.
Yeah, it's an outside of Youngevity product. The one that I like best is made by a company. It's called Meso Copper, MESO Copper.
Okay, Meso Copper. Okay.
And, a tablespoon of that 3 times a day. Because you need more copper based on your history of phlebitis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because your body needs that.
Yes, I'd heard you say that before.
Yeah, in order to produce elastin. And I get a little funny around recommending people taking large doses of elemental copper, but colloidal copper, there's no problem whatsoever, and you can just drink a whole bottle a day as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, okay.
So, for the next week, right, up the selenium and get back on the Cell Shield RTQ train. And you want to look to see inside of 7 days, because this is kind of a directed therapeutic, right? Inside of 7 days, you want to look to see a positive change in the phlebitis. And that's either going to happen or not. So call me back in 7 days with a report, Anita. And, don't worry about the blood sugars now. When we get the vein thing straightened out, life should be good. I appreciate you, Anita. Give me a call back. Thanks so much. Stick around, folks. Way much more to come. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here with you, your steadfast advocate for health. Let's go to Nebraska and see what's up with Tom. Hey, Tom, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Glidden, for having me on the line with you.
Yeah, anytime, Tom. It's always a pleasure. What's going on?
Okay, well, one of the guys who was on with me had a call. He had to leave, so I'm sure I won't be able to answer everything. But a guy that we're talking to, he's had gastric bypass. And he has a bad rash, and he's tried everything. He's not on the products yet. We're trying to get him on the products, but just needed some advice of kind of what to go with.
Okay, well, glad you called, and I have some good news for you. I hope it's good news in any event. Are you a Dr. Glidden Insider? Have you become a subscriber to my webinars yet?
No, I haven't. I've got to do that, but I haven't yet.
Well, here's why. I don't know if you have to do it, but I think it would be a good idea if you did it, and here's why. If you become a subscriber, right, it's only $20 a month, and you can cancel whenever you want. You have immediate access to over 100 hours of health webinars that are in a library. And if you have somebody that has gastric bypass, you can send them a link to the webinar that I did on gastric bypass. They don't need a subscription. You have a subscription. Yeah, you have immediate access to it. So I did I've got a webinar on arthritis, on high blood pressure, on fibromyalgia, on migraine headaches, you name it. We've got one. So if I were you, the best way to kind of educate people about stuff like this, especially if they're on the fence, they know that they're frustrated with conventional medicine, but they're not really ready to take the plunge yet with Youngevity. A really good way to inform them and to kind of, coax them through the door into the undiscovered country of holistic medical nutrition is with the webinars. I did a really good webinar on gastric bypass and what it's all about. It's 45 minutes long. It lines the whole thing up. And if I were you, I would just become a subscriber, put down $20 and send the guy a link to this webinar. And, while you have a month subscription, check out the other stuff that's there and use it to your advantage. And I have to tell you something, Tom. The people in longevity that are using this insider subscription information to help build their longevity business, their businesses are skyrocketing because, remember, the easiest way to show people the health opportunity with longevity is to point, right?
Right.
Right. Rather than become the expert, you take them to the expert, and that's why you called this show, and I think that's great. But you can take it to the next level, man, by becoming a subscriber. Now, there are people in the world who aren't that internet savvy, or they don't just like it, or they live in the wilderness somewhere, or they don't have access to the internet, or they don't want to go there. I have DVDs that you can purchase on my website for peanuts, basically. I've got, I think, 10 or 20 different webinars that we've edited for DVD content. And so you find someone with arthritis, hey, I know a doctor that says you don't have to suffer with that. If I lend you this DVD, will you watch it? It's that simple. So when you start using the tools that longevity has to offer, and when you start using the tools that I have to offer, everything changes, man. And I would really suggest that you give it a ride. Now, remember, the short answer to your question is what we do here with longevity is offer science-based, clinically verified boilerplate foundation medical nutrition strategies for people. So this is obviously a digestive issue. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had a gastric bypass. So the recommendation there is one healthy digestion pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. One healthy digestion pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. And also, he needs to get on board with our weight loss ideation in our weight loss protocols. When he eliminates the 10 bad foods and cuts down his caloric intake, he's going to start to lose weight. His energy's going to get better. His mood's going to get better. Everything's going to brighten up. And that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Thanks for the call, Tom. Coming up next, folks, stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, finishing up another great week. Thank you for your support. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for turning on, as we used to say in the 60s. I appreciate it very much. This is very much a grassroots coalition of the informed. Every person makes a difference. Every person matters. And, the greatest things that have happened in history have always been done by one person or a small group of people. Right? I mean, think about it. The people that signed the Declaration of Independence, a handful of people, and it changed history completely. Gandhi changed history completely. Martin Luther King, right? The list goes on and on. Don't neglect or downplay a small group of people, the power of a small group of people, especially if the power that group of people comes from, that group of people comes from something that's related or a reflection of the truth. Because you can't stop the truth. Eventually the truth will out. It's a law of nature. You can't hide the truth under a bushel. Eventually it must come out. And that's all that we do here in longevity. We speak truth about medicine. We speak truth about medicine, and that's a very powerful phenomenon. It's a very powerful phenomenon when you speak the truth about anything. And it's a wonderful business, it's a wonderful organization, and it's a wonderful group of people to align yourself with. So take the plunge, why don't you, and become a longevity member today. Right now we're going to go to Washington, talk to Patricia about, my goodness, an amoebic dysentery. I hate that illness. Hey, Patricia, welcome aboard. You are live.
Hi, Dr. G. Good to talk to you.
Hey, what's going on?
Well, I have one of my clients' husbands was previously diagnosed with amoebic dysentery and was treated with antibiotics, and it seemed to clear up. That was quite a while ago. when they were supposed to test it, they tested it, but he doesn't think they tested the specimen within the first hour, which is supposed to be. And so, but it seemed to clear up, and for a long time he was symptom-free, but now it's coming back very rapidly. So they're suspecting that maybe it didn't clear up. And so before I talked to him about it, I'm thinking, killer biotics and healthy digestive start pack. Just what do you think from there?
Well, it's an interesting thing to talk about when it comes to bugs that live in the body, bugs that have found their way into the body, especially if they are of the parasitic ilk, which amoebic dysentery is. It's important to dial in as specific a protocol as you can to find an herbal agent that will actually kill that particular strain of the bug. So, if this was like a one-time thing and, he went to Mexico or he went camping and he got amoebic dysentery and he went on board a holistic program and he became symptom-free, then there's no harm and no foul. But when it comes back, a couple of weeks or a couple of months later, we have to look at that and be more aggressive. So the only way to do that, or the most efficient way to do that, is by going to a lab that will do a diagnostic analysis of a stool specimen, find the amoebic dysentery if it's there, and then if it is there, they will culture it and they'll try to kill it with a number of different herbal agents and a number of different prescription drugs. And they'll send him a report that tells him which one kills his particular strain of amoeba the best. And that's a much more efficient, much more effective way to do it, because I got to tell you something. There's few things worse in life than living with a parasitic infection, especially amoebic dysentery. It is nothing but trouble all of the time. So the more efficient road to getting rid of it, the better. And Doctor's Data, by the way, is the lab that I recommend people do above all other labs in the United States when it comes to testing for the presence of parasites in the human body. Their testing methodology eclipses in effectiveness anybody else's. The problem with Doctor's Data is, though, you have to go through a physician to get it. However, you can use a website called directlabs.com, DIRECTLABS.com, directlabs.com. You can go there and order a Doctor's Data, and it's called a comprehensive stool analysis. A comprehensive stool analysis with parasitology. A comprehensive stool analysis with parasitology. You can order it yourself through directlabs.com. They'll send you a kit. It comes via DHL, I think, with complete instructions for how to take it, and then you collect the samples and put it in a DHL mailer. It's either DHL or UPS, I can't remember which, and then you just call the 800 number. The company comes and picks it up. The carrier comes and picks it up. The lab processes the sample and sends you, the patient, the results. And it's very easy to understand. It's all written in layman's terms. Tells you exactly what to do. That's the way to go. And in the meantime, give Nightly Essence or the Root Beer Belly or the Flora FX on top of the Healthy Start Pack. Everybody gets the Healthy Start Pack. Everybody eliminates the 10 bad foods. And when we're dealing with a parasitic infection of any type, it's a two-pronged strategy. Number one, we have to find out what bug it is and what kills it, and then we have to take that. And number two, we have to give the good bacteria in the gut an upper hand, so that the good bacteria, by virtue of their numbers, will overwhelm the bad bacteria. The bad bacteria won't have any more room to feed or breed, and it will die out. Kind of like when creeping moss, goes through a field, and all the other plants die because of it. It's like that. So Flora FX, Nightly Essence, or Root Beer Belly, or for goodness sake, give them all three. If you're giving the Nightly Essence or the Flora FX, the best time to take it is right before bed. Root Beer Belly can be taken any time. It's best if you do the Root Beer Belly between meals. So, because this is a big bad voodoo daddy, you might want to do both. You might want to do the nightly essence or the Flora FX before bed, and then a packet of root beer belly during the day while you're waiting for the test results. This, of course, would be on top of the Healthy Start Pack and elimination of the 10 bad foods. And I bet that was a much more longer-winded answer than you were thinking for, right?
Well, no, but it's very helpful. I do want to clarify something, though.
Yeah.
You just cracked me up.
Yeah.
You said doctorsdata.com, but it needs a referral, but he can do the referral himself.
Well, no. Yeah, so I there was double speak there. So normally, if you wanted to use a doctor's data lab test, you would have to go through a licensed physician, right, who had an account with doctor's data. But and some people, and I only say that because, are you in Washington State or Washington, D.C.?
I'm in Washington State, Yakima,
all right.
Washington. This is
okay, great.
Yakima.
Oh, all right, great. So there are Washington State, of course, licenses and regulates naturopathic medicine, and most naturopathic doctors have an account with doctor's data. So if this guy has a naturopathic physician that he goes to all the time, then he can just call them up and say, hey, look, I want a doctor's data comprehensive stool analysis with parasite test. Can you order it for me? No harm and no foul. But if he doesn't have a relationship with an ND, and if he doesn't want to start a relationship with an ND and go through all of the rigmarole of becoming somebody's patient, then he can just go to directlabs.com in order to test himself. Directlabs.com keeps a couple of MDs on staff, and they review the results of every lab test that's ordered. And so the MD takes a look at it and gives it a pass or a fail. And that's how they get around the law. It's an interesting thing, but I lean more and more in that direction because the more we can keep conventional medical people out of the loop, the better it is, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah. So
okay,
that's what I would do. Check that out.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, have him keep his fingers crossed and see what happens.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. G. Have a great day.
All right. Patricia from Yakima, thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Patricia from Yakima is an insider, and she is often on the chats with us. As I mentioned before at the top of the show today, we had over 200 people last night on my worldwide health webinar for insiders and their guests exclusively. Last night we talked about autoimmune disease. Now, if you're an insider, you'll have access to that webinar for the rest of your life because it's recorded and it's archived. It's in the library, and you can have access to it. You can watch it. And by the way, if you are an insider, if you have a subscription to my online informational stuff, you can cut, copy, and paste a link of any of the webinars that I've done and email them to anybody in your life for free. So, that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick, and that's one of the reasons why Team Glidden and other members of Longevity Nation who are using these webinars are growing so quickly. Because, you watch the webinar and you get a clue, and you want to take action. You call your longevity representative, and it doesn't get much easier than that. Hey, guess who it is? Celeste from Louisiana calling me back. I'm so happy. Hey, Celeste, thanks for the call back. You are live.
Hey, Dr. Glidden. I did well without the eggs, although I love the eggs, but I don't feel sad and gloomy and don't want to.
Well, all right. So I know what you're talking about, Celeste, but the listening audience doesn't. So, So give everybody a little bit of a history here and tell people what happened.
Okay, when I first got the longevity about 4 weeks ago, I did the big thing. I got three scoops of tangerine, 3 scoops of Osteo FX, and I mixed up in 32 ounce water, and I downed it in 5 minutes. And
then you saw God, right? Yeah.
Close to it. Yeah. My head was spinning, heart palpitations, all that good stuff. So I told him that's good. He cried, and he's like, oh, he laughed just like he just did, by the way. And he said, oh, just flush for a day, and then, start day one. So I did that. So the heart palpitations stopped. Everything was fine after that. So I put the feathers on. I'm chicken now. So I put my feathers on, and I thought, oh, okay, I'll do 1 scoop a day. So when I called Monday, I was doing like 6 to 8 eggs a day. And I started to like itch or feel, sad and, don't want to. So I stopped the eggs for 3 days straight, and it all disappeared. The gloomy and all that disappeared. Yeah. So I kind of took my feathers off Monday, and I started doing 2 scoops of the tangy tangerine for breakfast and 2 in the evening. But the thing is, I started getting welts. Well, it wasn't. It was maybe 2 welts on my wrist. Yeah. And it was itching. So that's
is it Beyond Tangy 2.0 that you're taking?
No, it's the original.
All right. So you want to switch to the 2.0. You want to switch to the 2.0. And when you drink the scoops, you want to take at least an hour to drink the whole thing down. Switch to the 2.0, Celeste. Switch to the 2.0. It's not going to give you the welts. Or if it does give you the welts, I'll eat my hat. But that's what you need to do. And I told you, you had an allergy to those eggs. It's amazing, isn't it, what happens when you eat the wrong stuff? So proud of you, Celeste. Keep up the good work and keep me appraised. I don't know about you, but I feel like finishing out today in sunny Arizona. Let's go down there and talk to Bev and see what she has to say. Hey, Bev, thanks for the phone call. You are live. Come in, Bev.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
My husband has been in the hospital about 3 times, starting in last year. And he had, what he went in for was double pneumonia. He has heart failure, he has kidney problems, and he had to have his lungs taken care of. They did 3 operations on his lungs. They did a theoscopic corticulation on the left bat of his left lung. But what we're on is the program, the minerals, and he takes 1.5 scoops of both of those every day, plus the EFA 1 3 times a day, the dailies 2 3 times a day, the EFA 2 3 times a day, selenium 3 times a day, and the distress. But he doesn't seem to be getting any better where he's getting any energy, and I just want to make sure that he's on the right program on this. He's been taking it since February 17th.
Okay, so February to March, March to April, April to May, that's 3 months. That's plenty of time for anybody to experience a positive change. So when medical nutrition fails, there are only 2 possibilities. Number 1, he is either not taking enough or he's not absorbing what he's taking. So this begs the question, has he eliminated the 10 bad foods?
Yes, the fried foods and all of that, you mean?
Yeah, and has he gone gluten-free? Has he stopped eating wheat, barley, rye, and oats?
Yes.
And he's done that since February?
Yes.
Okay, how much?
He's had to watch his diet because he only can take 2,000 of the salt. They cut back on his salt even.
Yeah, well, that's a problem. That's a problem. How many meds has he taken?
Right now, he was on the warfarin. Yeah. He's been off of that since the 2nd of April. But I wanted to make sure that the heart, the 3 that he's taken 2 times a day, is that the EFA that's good for the heart?
Yeah, that was Dr. Wallach's, one of Dr. Wallach's lawsuits against the Food and Drug Administration. Essential fatty acid supplementation virtually eliminates the risk of stroke, and that's why they're giving him the warfarin. How much does your husband weigh?
He used to weigh 165. He's down to 135 right now.
Okay, 135. Then that's a perfect amount of essential fatty acids to take.
Okay, and the 80s are for the kidneys. Is that true?
Yeah, that's correct. Well, it's for circulation. It's to support and promote healthy circulation. Has your husband experienced anything that's been positive since starting longevity, or nothing at all?
Well, he's just very weak. He doesn't have any energy whatsoever, and he's having a hard time walking. He's just weak.
Okay, so here's what I would recommend that you do for 14 days as an experiment to see if it kicks him up a notch. Okay? All right. I would give him 1 level scoop of Beyond Tangy Tangerine.
Okay, 1 level scoop, okay.
1 level scoop in about 12 ounces of water.
Okay, 12 ounces of water.
4 times a day.
4 times a day.
Yep, and I would have him drink it slowly over the course of an hour each time.
Yeah.
I don't want him to chug it down. I want him to drink it slowly, and I want him to do 1 scoop 4 times a day.
That's of the tangerine?
That's of the tangy tangerine, yeah. Everything else he can keep taking the same. What does he have for breakfast?
I usually cook him eggs for breakfast.
All right, so for the next 7 days, all right, in addition to increasing his Beyond Tangy Tangerine dose, I want you to stop eggs. He might have an allergy to eggs, and if he's consuming eggs and he's allergic to them, he's going to feel funky, he's going to feel sluggish, he's not going to feel like himself. So give him anything but eggs, as long as it's not the 10 bad foods, for breakfast. Increase the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, please, to 1 level scoop 4 times a day, and then give me a call back after you've done that in about 7 days, Bev, and we'll see what we need to do next. I appreciate you very much, and we are regretfully out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. God willing, and the creek don't rise. Back in the saddle on Monday. Mike Phillip tomorrow on Fire Your MD Now.